it doesn't feel like that we've been doing it for 25 years or whatever it is. Plus, it's good to see now a lot of the new bands saying that we inspired them and stuff. It gives you confidence as well to keep going.
Black Sabbath, the new album, Cross Purposes.
If you would compare this lineup you're having today with a possible Aussie lineup, where would you think it would be musically if you'd done it?
There's no comparison. I mean, the Aussie lineup is the original classic lineup, and this lineup doesn't attempt in any way to copy that band, the original Black Sabbath. They are both separate things, and they're separate kinds of music. Although there are familiarities all the way through the thing. Obviously, we have the original guitarist and bass player from that band, but the stuff we write is completely different. It's the next stage in Sabbath's history, you know.
Of course, Ozzy and Geezer and Tony and Bill announced the reunion of Black Sabbath again, and I thought that was a great idea, but I guess Ozzy didn't think that was a great idea. But Tony and Geezer, Bill thought it was a great idea. So it's, you know, you should ask them the next question. Why did it break up? I've told you my version of it. You tell them.
Were you surprised by that breakup?
No, I wasn't surprised at all. I'm never surprised when it comes to what happens with them. Never at all. They're very predictable. They don't talk.
Plus, that show was never even asked, like, you guys think we should do this show? Like, presented to Ronnie, like, you want to do this show? What do you think? Instead, it was just decided among themselves that we're doing the show. So, you know, it doesn't make Ronnie feel too well, you know, and then it's just, like you said, lack of communication.
I felt Black Sabbath was more important to be by itself, on its own, to recreate its own image again, than to have to be in the shadow of someone else. And that person just happened to be Ozzy. It could have been Judas Priest. Maybe Rob would have been singing with him, I don't know, but that wasn't a problem for me.
Ronnie would say that he did not bow out. He was, well, either sacked or forced to leave. Well, how would you describe Ronnie's absence?
Well, what happened on that is we were due to do the Costa-Mesa dates with Ozzy, and which would have been good for him too, you know. And he wouldn't do that. He refused flatly to do that. So we decided we should do it. It was a good date for us to do. And after that, we didn't actually break up. We just all went our own ways, you know. It wouldn't have. I think we've gone as far as we could go with that lineup. It wasn't. It took like 2 years, over a period of 2 years, to do that last album with him. So I think what we've got now is the best thing we've got. You know, it's easy to. We can work. We've got a great relationship, and music comes easy. You know, it wasn't coming that easy with Ronnie.
I understand that you have a working class background. Did that change you in any way? I mean, being from one point nobodies and then big stars, celebrities traveling the world. Did you find it hard to handle that change?
I can't remember now. I don't think we did.
I think other people changed towards you. That's what I found out. And now a lot of friends became jealous, or they turned around and asked me for money. And even though we were selling millions of albums, we hadn't seen any money yet, because you have to, you know, wait for the royalties and everything to come in.
And the managing problems?
Management was getting most of the money that we were earning and stuff like that, so we didn't feel any different. Just sort of you moved out of, say, the not very nice areas of Birmingham into an even worse area. Just, you know, you see the material things. Material you change, you get buy a car and stuff like that, but I don't think you're changing yourself. Just beat the servants a bit more.
Did you become more aware of where you came from when you started to tour the world? Become more English in a way, or?
Not really, no. I think it became more late-ish, so if that's... became more like lager lakes and everything, smashed hotels up and all that, so if that's Englishness, then yeah.
Checking out the football results on Saturdays? And
oh yeah, I do, yeah.
We did.
I used to phone home every time my team played.
May I ask what team you support?
I support Aston Villa.
Same goes for you?
I don't follow football, but if I did, it would be Aston Villa.
But you're from
You're
the
all
Aston,
from Aston, yeah?
you're from the Aston area?
Yeah.
So that was quite important to know the results and team.
For
doing
me,
well.
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
he used to be.
Yeah.
He was there straight away.
It meant the difference between a good gig and a bad gig.
So you could actually connect a very good gig with a, let's say, 7-0 victory
Oh,
for Aston Villa.
absolutely.
Seven- have they
Especially if it
scored
was over
7-0?
Liverpool.
Yeah, we could always tell when they'd won. We could always tell when they'd lost.
That's why I was always
He'd never
crap.
talk to us.
Well,
I
when,
wasn't a Birmingham supporter.
when Villa won the European Cup in '82, were you actually doing any gigs around that time?
Yeah, I was in America, yeah. I had somebody on the other end of the phone, and I was like relating what was happening from the television, and I was just standing there listening to the whole match on the telephone.
You were?
Yeah.
We were doing the gig at the time.
If you were to pick out albums of this long career, are there any albums that quickly spring to your mind as that was special in any way? Whereas every album that you've done that was dominating your mind at the time?
Well, we were talking about this the other day. I think they've all been, I suppose, special albums at the time. The only one we don't really relate to is Never Say Die, because that was a bad period for us of having to... It was a period when Ozzy was leaving and he left and he came back. And when he came back, we'd written some songs and he wouldn't sing them, and we were due to do this album, Never Say Die. And off we went to Canada to record it. To record an album we hadn't got any songs for, basically. So we had to start rehearsing in the morning at 9 o'clock because we were recording on the evening, so it really got difficult. We were trying to write a song and then record it on the night, so we couldn't relate to it. You can't do that. We didn't live with them and whatever. And it was, I'm surprised we ever managed to do an album.
Especially with them getting up that early.
Yeah, there's not one for getting up. Well, he wasn't then, getting up at
Have you changed now?
8 o'clock.
Yeah, I can't sleep now.
Did the fact that you hooked up with Ian Gillan at the time, did that seem like a logical thing to do at the time, or were you kind of desperate, or...?
No, we thought we were doing a sort of Gillan, Iommi, Butler, Ward album rather than the Black Sabbath album. It was never intended as a Black Sabbath album. And
You're actually going to call it that, or like Jeff Beck and
that
Brothers?
sort
or?
of thing,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's gonna be a
It's like, you know, thinking of... But that's the way we approached the album, and...
Is he a look, see?
famous now.
Any albums that you particularly...
And we'd finished the album, we took it to the record company, and they said, well, here's the contract, it's got to go out as a Black Sabbath album, and there's absolutely nothing we could do about it. So
Would they actually refuse to release the album under another
unless
name?
unless it was a Black
Yeah,
Sabbath album.
yeah, they can.
Never been afraid that the credibility of the name Black Sabbath might have been tarnished because of this lineup change that has been
You can look at
over
it
the
in two
years?
ways, really. I mean, you can look at it negatively, and a lot of the press, the media has taken it very negatively. You know, oh my God, they're changing again. You know, oh, another singer, oh, another drummer, you know, the whole thing. But you can also take it very positively. All those influences and inputs to the band and the music and the songs has come up with some fantastically classic tracks. You know, I mean, the Heaven and Hell thing and the Headless Cross things, they wouldn't have happened if those people hadn't been there, you know.
You were speaking about the early stuff where you were not involved, and what kind of favourites do you have then?
I think, for me, the albums that stand out for Sabbath are the ones that really started to take it into each direction. For me, Masters of Reality was great. I grew up with that one. That was a fabulous album for me. And obviously I have to give credit to Heaven and Hell. You probably wouldn't expect me to, but I really do think that was a great album. Great time, that. And Headless Cross was another album that took the band into a positive direction, I thought.
The latest album, is it fair to say that the Black Sabbath of today is more kind of refining the sound that you have been working on for the past 20, 25 years than actually trying to pushing your own limits?
I think sound-wise, we've done it probably easier than we ever have. We just walked in and just got a sound and just played. It wasn't so much we went in deeply to try and get different sounds. I think it was very natural on this album.
Exactly how much time did you spend working on this album? Writing the songs and recording it, mixing it?
About 6 months from the beginning till the end of the album, including writing.
And also including auditioning drummers as well at that point, because we took a time out to audition drummers.
Speaking about the lyrics, I mean, way back in time you were quite political in a way, writing songs like War Pigs and so on. Do you think that you've kept that spirit over the years, up until now?
I think we do whatever the times call for.
What do the times call for these days, do you think?
Well, Tony did the lyrics on this album.
What was it called?
The way I look at it is that I don't necessarily think that they were particularly political. They were definitely about real things that was happening at the time, and that's what I've done on this album, is chosen subjects, things that are happening today. But I think there's a thread of reality that goes through the whole Sabbath thing, you know, amongst all the experiments and stuff that the guys have done with the music. There's also been this reality thing goes through, apart from the Ronnie James Dio period where he did more of a fantasy type thing. Apart from that, a lot of it's been real subjects, real things happening at real times, you know. War Pigs was about war and stuff. You can't say it was political, but I tend to think it was more reality than that. And these lyrics on this album are really up to date, things that are happening today around the world, you know.
You're going to do a tour, I guess.
Yeah.
Where can we expect you to play? Sweden, I hope.
Everywhere. Watch the news and we'll come in by your place soon. We don't exactly know where in Switzerland yet.